Hello everyone, today we will study about paper chromatography. Okay, so first of all, in paper chromatography, nature of the paper. Paper is made up of or consists of highly purified cellulose, and impurities may be removed by washing the paper with 0.1 normal HCl. And before use this paper, we dry it after the washing. And the cellulose fibers in the paper hold moisture tightly through formation of hydrogen bond, and the cellulose itself take a negative charge in the company of water. Now the principle of paper chromatography, it is based on partition coefficient, as we have already discussed in the general principle of chromatography, in which solute or components distribute themselves between two phases, that is stationary and mobile phase, and based on their distribution or partition coefficient, components are separated. Okay, so in paper chromatography, the stationary phase is water molecules which is adsorbed on the fibers of cellulose, and the mobile phase is solvent. Okay, so this paper chromatography is a type of liquid chromatography because both the phases are liquid in nature. Okay, now the apparatus and development, it consists of support for paper, then a solvent trough is there, and an airtight chamber in which chromatogram is developed. The sample is applied to the paper as a small spot, and for the application of sample we can use platinum loop, capillary tube, or a micropipette. Now there are two main techniques which can be employed in paper chromatography. The first one is descending technique. In descending technique, you can see here the end of the paper near which sample are located is held in a trough. This is the trough in which we fill the developing solvent. Okay, and this is the paper strip. Okay, with the help of this glass rod we hang this paper strip, and here in the jar it is equilibrated with equilibrating solvent. Okay, so in descending technique, the end of the paper near which sample is there are located is held in a trough. Here we apply the sample, and the rest of the paper allowed to hang vertically. Okay, then separation of the sample is achieved as the solvent move downward under gravity. Now the second setup is in ascending technique. You can see here this is the setup for ascending technique. In ascending technique, the paper is suspended in a manner that the base of the paper is in contact with the solvent that is present in the jar, and always remember the spot should be just above the solvent. Spot should be here just above the solvent. So these are the two setup which can be employed for paper chromatography technique, that is descending and ascending. Now there is two advantages of ascending technique. First one is their setup is very easy because no trough is required. We can use any glass jar, and we can close it with the help of a lid. Okay, so setup required is very easy in ascending technique. Second one is resolution of the sample is better as compared to descending technique because two forces are acting on the solute. First one is capillary force which makes it moves up, and the gravitational force which oppose this movement. That means two forces work in just opposite direction, and which results in the better resolution of the component or solute. Okay, now but one disadvantage of ascending technique is that due to two opposing force, it is very slow. Okay, the movement of the molecules or components are very slow. Now in comparison to ascending technique, descending technique is much faster because only one force is applied, that is downward, that is gravitational force. Also under gravitational force, the movement of the component or solute is very fast. Okay, now apart from these two setup, a third less used technique is also there for paper chromatography, that is radial development. In this radial development, a sample is spotted at the center of a circular cut disc of paper which is placed horizontally, and the center of the paper is connected with the solvent with a wick. Okay, and the solvent rises up the wick and thence to the paper. You can see here I just try to draw the structure for this radial development. Okay, this is the Petri plate. Okay, so in the Petri plate the solvent is there, and in the at the upper part of the Petri plate we use a paper disc in which at the center we make a hole, and here we apply the sample and we connect this paper disc with the solvent with the help of this wick, and just close this Petri plate with the help of Petri plate lid. Okay, so this is the assembly for radial development. Now in this radial development, actually the sample component move outward radially and we get the sample component just like radial arrangement. This method, in this method the resolution is very sharp and the apparatus required is very simple. You can also perform this radial development in a Petri dish. You can also apply this in the Petri dish. Now the fourth one variation is, all the three these techniques are one dimensional. We can also use two dimensional paper chromatography. In this two dimensional paper chromatography, we run the first development just normally. Okay, and here we suppose here this is the origin of application of a sample. Then three components A, and through with B, C is also there but it is not get separated. Then D. Okay, when we run the paper in this direction we get this spots. Then after completion of the development we remove this paper and dry it and then turn it from right angle or 90° and then apply on second solvent like this. Okay, these are the previous sample components separated, and when we run this paper in this direction, then B and C get resolved in the second development. Okay, so that is two dimensional chromatography, that is the variation of one dimensional. So here we can get more separate, more good resolution of components, so that we can separate two components which are very closely in the first run by using second type of solvent. Okay, now examples, there are some examples of solvent system which is used in paper chromatography. Butanol, acetic acid, water in the ratio of 40:10, 40:10:50 for the amino acid separation. Then for amino acid separation we can also use butanol, pyridine and water in the 33:33:33 ratio. Then for butanol, pyridine and water in the ratio of 58:28:22 for mono and disaccharide separation. Then propanol and petroleum ether in the 4:96 ratio for the separation of plant pigments. So these are some examples of solvent system which we can use in the mobile phase for the separation of these components. Okay, after separation completion, then we take out the paper and dry it. If the components are not colorful, then we cannot visualize it. So to make them visualize, we can use a chemical reagent. For example, for the visualization of amino acids or proteins, we use ninhydrin and we spray the ninhydrin reagent, then we get the colored purple spot where the amino acids are there and we can easily detect it. Other methods are also there apart from chemical reagent. Ultraviolet absorption method is also there, fluorescence method is also there, and radioactivity method is also there. These methods are used for the detection of the compound after the separation through paper chromatography. Okay, now after detection, the identification of given compound made on the basis of their RF factor, that is known as retardation factor or relative flow, as it is constant for a given compound. So we can measure the RF of the solute or components which is separated and then compare it with the standard one, so that we can also identify the separated compounds. Okay, for the calculation of RF, the formula is RF, that is known as retardation factor or relative flow, is equal to the distance moved by the solute divided by the distance moved by the solvent. Okay, and there is no unit for this RF value because both will be centimeter and it will cancel out. Okay, so by calculating this RF value we can also identify the unknown compound. Now the applications of this paper chromatography, technique can be used to detect the impurities present in pharmaceutical compounds or in food products or in beverages. It is also used for the detection of dopes and drugs in animals and humans, and it is also used for many research studies in biochemistry.